Hi everyone, Vincent Wynn here for SlashGear. I have with me today Microsoft's new Surface RT powered by Windows RT to compare with the new Apple iPad 3rd generation. So with that, I'm going to jump in and give you a physical comparison of the two devices as well as a high-level comparison between Windows RT and iOS. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in. So the first noticeable difference between Surface RT and iPad is obviously the 10.6-inch display, 16:9 ratio versus the 10.1-inch display on the iPad. And as soon as you flip them both on, you're going to see that Surface RT is running Windows RT and iPad is obviously running iOS. Windows RT has live tiles, as you can see, as they update, whereas basically the iOS version on iPad is static and with just icons and folders. Physically, the one thing that's really neat that I like about Surface RT is the kickstand that Microsoft built into the device itself. One pop and you've got a nicely configured device to use anywhere. There are 3 hinges that holds the kickstand in place. 2 of them controls the flipping mechanism, and a 3rd controls that sound as it closes and open. Microsoft assured us that it doesn't matter how often you open and close, you should still get that consistent sound. And should you drop it, you shouldn't have to worry about the kickstand breaking or anything like that, because it will just automatically close on itself by itself. Second thing you're going to notice is there are ports down here for you to connect a touch cover on, or type cover if you will. And what that does is it allows you to set Surface RT on a surface somewhere or on your lap and start typing, or surf or work or whatever you want to do. Unlike a traditional keyboard that you would connect to the iPad via Bluetooth, this is basically a physical connection. There's nothing wireless about this, and I mean, it's always working. It's reliable, as you can see. Shouldn't come off. You'll see later that my 2-year-old daughter, well, one of the specs that Microsoft set off to do was to make sure that a 3-year-old can pull this apart. My daughter's 2 years old and she's able to pull it apart. So you'll see that video later. And so this is pretty nice. It's nice to have, and if you don't want to use the keyboard, as soon as you turn the device to a certain angle, it becomes inactive. And you can basically use Surface RT as a standalone device, and obviously there's a built-in keyboard should you want to use that in the place of physical keyboard. Front-facing camera. iPad also has a front-facing camera. Home button, Microsoft home button as well. The power button on Surface RT is, if you're holding it in portrait, it's down here, whereas the iPad power button is top left. They both weigh relatively the same. I believe it's 1.5 pound in weight. However, Microsoft wants us to they want us to believe that as you pick up Surface RT, the initial weight should feel like it's 1.2 pounds versus 1.5. Whereas on the iPad, as soon as you lift it up, that moment of inertia, you'll feel that heft of 1.5 pounds versus Surface RT, which, yeah, it it's all perception. So like it's up to you. Once you get it, test out for yourself. On the back are rear-facing camera, or is a rear-facing camera. Volume rocker. There's a lock button here for orientation as well. On surface, you've got 3.5mm jack, speakers all around, and there's a USB port. And according to Microsoft, and this isn't official yet, but it's supposed to support up to 400,000 devices. And of those, I don't believe any of the iOS devices are compatible at this moment. Charging port. And they're both 64 gig configuration. The one thing that's nice about Surface RT is if you look right here, there's a port for memory card expansion, and this is a 64 gig card. Basically plug and play. I've tested memory cards or jump drives on this USB, and basically they just work. Very nice. So overall, they're both, the experience is quite nice. I really haven't experienced any lag in terms of performance. So unlike the tabs on Safari, if you swipe down from the top, you'll see all your different tabs that are currently open. I'm out shopping for a trash can, as you can see. I found that ClearType is okay. Microsoft wants you to believe that contrast is what differentiates between Surface RT and iPad, but in my opinion, it's still kind of hard to beat the Retina display, if you know what I'm talking about. Things are just a lot more crisper than a lower resolution panel that is on Surface RT here. Even though the contrast might be a little bit better on Surface RT. On the home screen here, you'll see that you pick your backdrop that you want, similar to iPad. You've got the date, you've got the day, the time, similar to iOS. You've got the number of emails, you've got your battery meter, and you've got a little icon that tells you whether you're connected to the internet or not. Swiping up, if you've got the lock screen in, it'll tell you. Okay, so now both Surface RT and iPad are on the same network. Let's go ahead and just have kind of a rendering test, if you will. You can see how that takes a split second or two for the text to just render. Whereas with the iPad, it's pretty much instant. So let's go ahead and load up. Let's do this Windows 8 review. Let's open up a new tab. Where'd we go? Whoa, there we go. You still see the waiting bar here? Circle is still spinning. This is done, and iPad is still trying to load up. This is a pretty long review. So they're pretty much on par with each other. Now, I think that if we run SunSpider, you can definitely see the difference between the two. This will give us an idea of how fast. Okay. On your mark, get set. Hold on a second here. Current version is, okay, there we go. Open. So let's take a look. So one thing you notice with IE is the bar and the icons and whatnot are on the bottom, whereas Safari is on top. And they're off to the races. And so just so you know, they're both running on the same network. While it's doing that, let's give you some side. Oh, Safari's done with 1,688.9 milliseconds, whereas IE is still running, and for some reason it says 1,128 milliseconds, but it took a little longer. Not sure what that means right now. That's quite interesting. This finished before Surface RT. So after that look at the differences between Surface RT and iPad, and also a high level look at iOS versus Windows RT, I want to do a quick recap on the two devices. First thing you notice once again is Surface RT's got a 10.6 inch display. It has a higher level of contrast than the iPad. However, the iPad does have a Retina display, which means that you're going to see text a whole lot clearer. You'll notice that when you compare the two devices for yourself, should you get one or look at it in the store or whatever. One thing I really like about Surface RT is the built-in kickstand. That's really useful because I'm on the plane quite a bit, and this is going to be really useful. Also, touch cover and type cover. Easy to pull apart and easy to connect. There's no messing with pairing up Bluetooth or whatnot, unlike on the iPad. Price point, they both start at $499. You get relatively the same experience, if you will, in terms of touch and the lightweight, carrying it around and whatnot. But one thing that the iPad's got going for it that I love is LTE on AT&T and Verizon, Wi-Fi only on Surface RT. The other big thing that iPad's got going for it is a massive number of apps available for it as soon as you purchase it. Unlike Surface RT, Windows RT is still in its infant stage, so it's going to take some time for developers to ramp up. If you buy Surface RT, you got to give it some time to get the apps that you want, such as Facebook or Twitter. Some very key apps that I use on a daily basis. So when you make your decision, you got to weigh in the ecosystem. I'm heavily invested on iOS already. I mean, countless number of dollars in terms of apps on my iPhone that is also available on the iPad. Not so much on Windows RT right now. So again, you gotta take that in consideration when you go out to buy one of these two. The third option is obviously Android. We'll save that for another discussion. With that, make sure to check out my full review on SlashGear. And drop me a comment. Let me know what you decided on. Love to hear from you. Thanks again.